Regular meeting of council of April 11, 2016. Mr. Spagno, would you please call the roll?
Colella.
Here.
Dixon. Here. Gibbons.
Here.
Cannon.
Present.
Harrison. Present. McLean.
Here.
Lowry.
Here.
O'Brien.
Present.
Tate. 8 present.
We have 8 members present. At this time, can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have one chair announcement. Executive session of council was conducted Monday, April 11, 2016. Before we come to the floor, police, personnel matters, and legal issues. At this time, I'd like to turn to the reports of the official and the library director's report.
Good evening. My name is Christine. I'm the director of Your Public Library, where we provide services to inform, inspire, and enrich the community. This week is National Library Week. It's a national observance and a celebration of the contributions that our nation's libraries and librarians have made, and to promote library use and support. So happy National Library Week. This has been celebrated since 1958. So stop in and see what's new at your library. Very different than in 1958. Our Wise Walk program will be starting up again. This is a 10-week walking class geared towards those that are 50 or older. It runs from April 14th through June 30th. The kickoff meeting will be on April 14th at the library, but then on Thursdays from there out, the group will meet at 9:30 a.m. at the Children's Playground in South Park. It is time for our annual book sale. Preview night will be Thursday, April 21st from 6 to 8 p.m. Entrance fee for that is $25, and with that you get a large brown grocery bag to put whatever you want in it. And then the regular book sale will be Friday and Saturday, April 22nd and 23rd from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. On Sunday, April 24th, we do have a bag sale. It's $5 per bag. We'll give you one of these large grocery bags, brown grocery bags, and you can fill it with whatever you'd like. The more you take, the less we have to pack up. And the bag sale runs on Sunday the 24th from 1 to 4 p.m. We're having a program for teens on Monday, April 25th at 7 p.m. called Inquire Within. So it's for teens that are looking for a job this summer. You'll have practice filling out a real job application form, discuss common interview questions, and learn what to wear when meeting your boss. A t-shirt and jeans is not it. We'll also go over the Pennsylvania child labor laws and how to apply for a work permit. So anyone in grade 7 or up is invited to attend. On Wednesday, April 27th at 2 p.m., Shannon Cohen, she's a physical therapist, will be at the library to talk about neck dysfunction. And she will cover common causes of neck problems, the anatomy of the neck, and will show you some exercises to help decrease neck pain. Different types of posture and how to improve your posture will also be included in this lecture, and I need that. My mother always tells me I slouch. On Friday, April 29th at 6 p.m., the Youth Services Department is hosting their first ever children's art show. So they ask that you bring in original pieces of artwork to the children's desk between now and April 22nd. You can enter artwork that was created at the library, at your school, or at home. You can enter up to 5 original art pieces. Each piece needs an entry form which can be picked up at the children's desk. The show is open to children in preschool through 8th grade. And then that night, Friday, April 29th, we're going to have a little gallery show. So it's $5 per person. You'll get entrance to this spectacular showcase. Some of the pieces, there'll be pieces from the staff, too, that we're kind of auctioning off. And also, if any child wants to auction off his or her piece, we'll do so then. And light refreshments will be served. So that is what's going on in the library this month.
Any discussion or questions from council? Hearing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, can we turn to the police chief's report in Chief O'Connor?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Good evening, everyone. Chief O'Connor. I am pleased to announce that our canine dog, G's, and handler, Officer Elwanger, completed their first of 12 weeks of canine school That started last Monday at the Pittsburgh Police Training Academy, and they have 11 weeks left, and everything is going fine. Next, I'd like to invite everyone to come to our next Crime Watch meeting, which is Monday, May 2nd at the Community Center, and that'll be 6:30 p.m. And finally, please follow our department on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Any questions? Okay. We have then a special presentation tonight, so I'm honored to call up Mr. Dan Duff of the Bethel Park Foundation. Thank you. Hi. And I'm going to then turn the floor over to Fire Chief Dave for the presentation.
Good evening. My name is Dave Gerber. I'm the Fire Chief with the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company, which you guys come on up to. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has a presentation that they would like to give to us. I'll introduce my members. On my left here is President Dave DeLallo of the Fire Department, Recording Secretary Ed Schmidt, and Vice President John Mark on the end. And with that, I'll turn the info over to Dan here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Council, for allowing us to come this evening. Many people know the Bethel Park Community Foundation. We're happy to provide grants to the community in a variety of areas. And I'm actually going to set the Chief up a little bit here tonight. People will wonder why the Community Foundation has a nice check for the fire department when some of your tax money actually goes to the fire department, and why there is still a very big need for donations and whatnot. So, Chief, could you maybe quickly explain that, and then I'll present a little something to the department.
Sure. As everybody knows, or should know by now, 2 years ago, we started getting tax money from the residents in the municipality. And with that tax money, the tax money goes towards paying for the buildings, the utilities and stuff for the buildings and all. It does not pay for our vehicles. It does not pay for any of our equipment. And unfortunately, all that equipment is very expensive. The last fire truck that we bought was $700,000. And we're doing another year or so to buy another fire truck. So you can see how expensive that is. Gear to outfit one firefighter is between 8 and 10 grand. And with the 45 active members and stuff we have, you can see how that gets very expensive also. So your tax money just doesn't go towards paying for all that stuff. It doesn't go towards any of that stuff. It just goes towards the building and the utilities and stuff. So it is very important that we get donations and work off of things like that to pay for all of our equipment and all the other needs that we have to run the organization that we do have. So very important.
Well, thank you for that explanation. About a month or two ago, the Vice President John Marks came to the foundation with a great idea that we wholeheartedly endorse. As part of the new station that we all see is being put up across the street, there will be a fitness center. And the firefighters, as we all know, have extreme physical fitness requirements, carrying heavy air packs, water hoses, just trying to carry all that equipment on a cold day isn't bad, but you put an 80-degree day and all that equipment on. So on behalf of the Bethel Park Community Foundation, John Carberry and myself would like to present the Bethel Park Fire Department $10,000 towards the new station's physical fitness center.
Mr. Duff, on behalf of all the members we have at the fire department, we greatly, greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Just very fast, I'd like to also extend a thank you to Mr. Duff, the entire community foundation, the board members, and everyone. This money is going to be spent on something very important. Unfortunately, cardiac issues and health-related issues continue to be the #1 killer of firefighters. It's actually not the fire itself. So This money is going to be put to good use to keep us safe and keep us fit so that we can in turn keep the community safe. So again, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Also, I'd like to add that the fire station is nearing completion. The expected date for us to start moving in is, I believe, May 2nd of next month, and we will have a grand opening celebration on Saturday, June the 18th, beginning at 10 a.m. So we'll invite of course, all the residents and businesses in Bethel Park, as well as we'll have a ceremony at the beginning to basically officially move us into the fire station at that point. So we'll look forward to seeing everyone there.
John has my notes.
Okay.
Good. Thank you, guys, very, very much. Once again, Dan, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you. For the month of March, the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company ran 30 total calls. We had 6 structure fires, 3 vehicle fires, 1 brush fire, 3 odors of electrical items burning, 1 telephone pole on fire, 2 gasoline leaks, 1 carbon monoxide condition, 1 good intent call, 2 vehicle accidents. We assisted 1 resident that was locked out of her house, 9 fire alarms, totaling 30 calls. Unfortunately, as we just mentioned, the new fire station will be opening here in the next couple of weeks, or at least getting turned over to us so we can start getting equipment and stuff moved in and set up and ready to go. Unfortunately, about a week and a half ago, one of our longtime members, Steve Orsini, passed away. Mr. Orsini was 98 years old and had been a member of the Volunteer Fire Department for 73 years. Just to let you know, my dad's only 75 at this point, so he was almost a member of the fire department as long as my dad's been alive. So it is with deep regret that we announced that he passed away about a week and a half ago. We had his funeral last week, and it was very, very interesting to get to talk to some of his family members. Steve has obviously lived here forever in Bethel Park, and just to hear some of the stories of the old days when the mine worked up in Coverdale and he lived up there and worked there and all was just absolutely incredible for me to being a lifelong member of Bethel Park. It was really interesting to hear some of the old stories and stuff of how things worked up there. So if you could keep his family in your thoughts and prayers, we'd greatly appreciate it. So in the next couple of days, or actually I believe today, John said, our fundraising letter has gone out. As Mr. Duff said, the way the fire department operates, your fundraising, the fundraising we do, your donations help keep the fire department moving and alive. It helps pay for all of our equipment and trucks, equipment for in the buildings. Like I said, your tax money does pay going towards the building. It's going for the debt service of the new building, plus it's paying for the other 2 stations and the utilities and all that we have. But it's very important for your donations to help keep everything else running for our equipment and all. So if you can, we would greatly appreciate anything that you can do for us donation-wise that helps keep us moving along. We have another fundraising event, Hops for Heroes. Hops for Heroes will be held at the Spoonwood Brewery on Baptist Road over there by Lowe's on Tuesday, April 19th from 6:30 to 10 p.m. Spoonwood Brewery is going to donate money from every draft, wine, mead, or cider purchased during that time. They also donate, I believe it's 10% of the money they make towards the food sold during that time. They will also have a special food they're having on the menu that night, Firehouse Chili and a pretzel bowl, and they will donate $1 for every one of those that are sold during that time. I believe we're going to have some guest bartenders there that evening from the fire department, so if anybody's interested, please stop over, help support the fire department. You can get a good meal while you're there, have a couple of drinks, and be more than happy to talk to all your firemen and stuff from the community, and we can answer any of your questions and things along that line. So once again, Hops for Heroes, that's going to be on Tuesday, April 19th from 6:30 to 10 p.m. over at the Spoonwood Brewery on Baptist Road. And actually, that's all I have. Ed mentioned the grand opening for the fire station will be June 18th on Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. I believe we'll have some light refreshments there that morning. The dignitaries will be there. state reps and all that stuff will be there along with members of council, hopefully, and all. And we'll go from there. You get to see the beautiful facility that's down there. Some of the stuff I've seen from it, I can't wait to get moved in. It's going to be fantastic. So with that, that's my report, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Hearing none, can we turn to the mayor's report, and Mayor Allen. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. President. Over the past couple years, we find a little bit of information where Bethel Park was one of the top places to bring up a family, one of the top places for housing, affordable housing. Well, with Mr. Spagnol sent me an email today, Bethel Park is one of the marriage capital of the country. There's one from every state. Bethel Park is the #1 marriage place to live in Pennsylvania, with 58.2% of our population being married. So it's a good place if you're married. It's not such a good place if you're single. The odds are good. See? St. Clair. So we're number 31 out of 50, actually, with 58.2%. I just have a couple items. I want to mention that the local parks improve the quality of life in Pennsylvania, for the Bethel Park residents. And in 2015, we were awarded a grant to evaluate the parks. The municipality is tuned up with consultants, planners, and designers, and we're at the point now where we need the input of the citizens. So starting tomorrow, April 12th, on our website, you'll find a 10-question survey. It'll also be in next month's issue of the Chronicles, where you can make suggestions on improvements that you're looking for. If you use the Chronicles, you'll need to drop the surveys off at either the community center, the rec department, or downstairs. The deadline for the surveys is June 1st, and the first meeting for public input will be held on Thursday, May 19th at 7 p.m. in the community center. So we need to find out what the residents want in their parks, so please take time, fill out the survey, either email it or bring it in to us, and we'll be able to make improvements on our parks. Last month I mentioned that starting April and going through September is yard waste collection season. We will collect yard waste the third Saturday of each month. Also, this Saturday, April 16th, is our spring cleanup day. So any group or scout troop interested can still contact Michelle in the municipal building at 831-6800, extension 203. And also, I did mention last month, but I'll mention it again because it's getting closer. If anyone's interested in the military banner program that we have, the deadline will actually be at the end of this week. So if you have someone that you would like to get a military banner for that we do put up on Memorial Day, you have till the end of this week. Okay, so at this time, I would also like to call up Mr. Dan Duff from the Community Foundation, and also Mr. Spagnol. Since you're Mr. Bethel Park.
Always willing to get involved when there's a check.
Okay, at this time I'd like to present Mr. Duff.
Thank you. If many of you might remember that the community center opened just a few years ago, and Bethel Park Community Foundation at that time provided a grant for the lobby furniture and furniture for the adult lounge. Well, it's been a few years, and I believe it's been 16 years or 15 years since that facility opened, and it was time to replace the furniture. So in doing that, John, would you help me here? We'd like to present a check for $8,300 to the community center for new furniture in the lobby and in the adult lounge. Okay. We really appreciate appreciate it, gentlemen, and look forward to working further with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. With our renovations going on over there, we'll certainly we'll put that to good use. And Mr. President, that's my report.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to thank the members of the foundation. This isn't the first time they've been here. For many years, they have been a big part of helping develop Bethel Park. The donations over the years through the fire department, the police department, and the community center really helped make Bethel Park special as it is today. So on behalf of council, the mayor, staff, and all the residents, we'd like to thank you for your work and dedication to the community.
Thanks, Mr. Conlon.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I would like to turn to the approval of the minutes, and Mr. Hannon.
I move that we approve the regular council meeting minutes of March 14th, 2016.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we approve the regular council meeting minutes of March 14th, 2016. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagno, would you please call the roll?
Colella.
Yes.
Dixon. Yes. Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison. Yes. McLean.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes. Motion passes 8-0. Mr. Hannon.
I move that we approve the bills and payrolls from municipality per bill list number 041116 in the amount of $1,246,469.76.
Second.
There is a motion and a second that we approve the bills and payrolls for the municipality per bill list number 041116 in the amount of $1,246,469.76. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagno, would you please call the roll?
Dixon. Yes. Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Colella.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. At this time, I would like to turn to resident comments for non-agenda items. Hearing none, if we can turn to general policy and finance and Mr. McLean, and we have no residents signed up to speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have two appointments on the agenda tonight. First is the appointment to the Civil Service Commission. I move that we appoint Terry Capristo to the Civil Service Commission for a term to expire on December 31, 2018.
Second.
There's a motion, a second, that we appoint Terry Capristo to the Civil Service Commission for a term to expire on December 31st, 2018. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Spagno, would you please call the roll?
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison. Yes. McLean.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Colella.
Yes.
Dixon. Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Mr. McLean.
Next item is an appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I move that we appoint Joe Consolmagno to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a term to expire on December 31st, 2018.
Second.
There's a motion and second. We appoint Joe Consolmagno to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a term to expire on December 31st, 2018. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Spagno, would you please call the roll?
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison. Yes. McLean.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Colella.
Yes.
Dixon. Yes. Gibbons.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. At this time, I would like to make a few comments. Some of these I have written because there's some documentation. I just want to make sure that I'm accurate. I'll start with the bad news first. Just to let everybody know, over the last, as long as I can remember when I was a kid, that we've had fireworks in Bethel Park. So 2016, we will not be having fireworks on the 4th of July. I think we talked about it last year when Upper St. Clair decided to go a different direction. The area to South Hills Village that we utilized to do the fireworks initially was unavailable, but through the help of Mr. McLean, we were able to get them to let us do it for one more year. For 2 years now, we've looked at different locations from a safety perspective, from a crowd control perspective. Everywhere we looked, it just didn't seem to work. But it was a tough decision by this board, but I just wanted to let everybody know that we will not be having fireworks in Bethel Park this year. The next part, and once again, I had mentioned I wrote some of this information down. Yikes. Just want to comment on some things that happened at our meeting last month and kind of some things that you'll probably hear happening tonight. Last month, Mr. Harrison made some comments that I would like to respond to, as I was not present at the meeting. I will paraphrase Mr. Harrison's comments that he indicated he had read a story in a magazine that voter turnout is on the decline. He mentioned voter turnout is on a decline As he quoted some facts, in 2012, there was about a 55% turnout, and in 2014, there was about a 35% turnout. He alleged that people are losing confidence in elected officials for being disingenuous and misleading to the public. Mr. Harrison, I totally agree with you. Some politicians have the tendency to say things to attract attention to themselves, but they don't have the facts to support their statements. Case in point, who doesn't recall the emergency access road at the industrial park that Mr. Harrison spoke about for over 2 years? He said that we could build a 700-foot road for $5,000, but would not disclose how he was going to do this. In the end, the professionals told us that the cost of the road would be nearly $1 million. While he presented a compelling story to the public, it was simply not true. At last month's meeting, Mr. Harrison spoke about having his name on the plaque at the new fire station. Mr. Harrison insinuated that I brought up the issue about the plaque and stated, quote, Maury suggested that my name, Don Harrison, not be included on the plaque. His reason for the suggestion is that I voted against the ordinance to place the question on the ballot. As he's been saying for nearly 2 years in the alleged illegal action. Well, Mr. Harrison presented a compelling story to the public. Yet again, it was simply not true. Now for the facts. I requested that the item be placed on the council agenda entitled Dedication Plaque, New Fire Station. When it came up, I explained that all members of council, municipal staff, and the professionals' names would appear on the plaque, and the fire department would have a separate plaque for their names. And I asked the question, and there was no objections from council. Then I asked Mr. Harrison if he wanted his name on the plaque, since he voted against a resolution in support of the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Department. I reminded him this occurred at the meeting prior to the vote on the referendum question and had nothing to do with the ballot question. At this point, Mr. Harrison refused to comment, and I stated, I guess that means he wants his name on the plaque. Approximately 10 minutes later, Mr. Harrison became a little irate and began his name calling as he usually does. And he went back through the alleged illegal action of council, and he stated he supported the fire department. I reminded him again, the resolution he voted no on had nothing to do with the referendum question, and Mr. Harrison chose not to respond. And I don't want to read the resolution, but I'll read the minutes that Mr. Harrison voted on and approved. It said, motion by Hannon, seconded by Mr. Allen, to adopt a resolution of support for the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Department. Motion carried 8-1, dissenting vote, Mr. Harrison. And this was truly just an act of thanking the fire department for the dedication. It had nothing to do with the building itself. But it just shows you kind of what we're dealing with when Mr. Harrison comes out here and he writes his 3-page, 4-page speech. As another example I'm sure you will be hearing about tonight from Mr. Harrison, there's a proposed change to the ordinance that may impact a property in Mr. Harrison's ward. This has been going on since November, and council has always agreed to let members of council utilize the system, the Swift Reach robocall system, the affected residents. A few years back, our former mayor utilized the system to notify the community to turn the clocks back, and Mr. Harrison, from his seat up here, chastised the mayor for utilizing this as it was a political motive. For this development, there have been at least 6 calls go out to the majority, and the majority of his calls stated, quote, Council Member Harrison suggested you attend this meeting. It was brought to my attention by a resident in Mr. Harrison's ward. I placed the item on the agenda for discussion by council. Once again, Mr. Harrison became irate and insinuated that he can do what he wants to do and that he knows everybody on the list that received the call, and those people, quote unquote, love me. I stated that this may be hard to believe, but this resident question may not like Mr. Harrison. But yet the other thing they brought up to my attention was, why are we continuing to do this, and this is at the taxpayer's expense? I asked council if it was okay for staff to develop a policy, and nobody objected. So we sent the policy off to staff to be developed. I could go on and on about Mr. Harrison's speeches, and he has made from this seat filled with inaccuracies and misleading information, but I won't. I will refer back to the beginning of my speech where I agreed with Mr. Harrison on people losing confidence in elected officials for being disingenuous and misleading to the public. Mr. Harrison is one of those elected officials. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. O'Brien.
I do remember that meeting, Mr. Mowry. We did have discussion with Mayor Morton. His intentions at the time were truly honorable, and he wanted to do a service to the community. However, we did discuss that night because of the Swift Reach program, and we did take in consideration Mr. Harrison's comments on a purely a way that we discussed the information to try and find a better way to use it. The discussion that night about the Swift Reach is that we were going to be cautious about how we used it, because you didn't want to overuse it, because people then tend not to listen to it. It's truly an opportunity to get emergency messages when times are needed. So let's be cautious how we use it. But we did agree that night that no member of council should or could attach their names to it, so it would relieve the implication that this was being used politically, the information and the issue that was brought up by Mr. Harrison. So that is my interpretation of that night, that would be cautious in how we use it, and no member of council would be permitted, without a policy, to put their name to it, to keep it more of a genuine nature. So that's all I wanted to give informed tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Any further discussion from council?
I'd like
Mr. Harrison?
I'm going to speak to a couple things that I didn't intend to. Maury brings up the ordinance for the fire company. Our elite super lawyer indicated that when I alleged it was illegal, he said, well, it's different. It's an initiated ordinance. Now, I don't know of any ordinance that we've acted on was not initiated. So, you know, I'm still completely confused about that. I'll tell Mr. O'Brien, you've been very effective. The message that went out today did not mention Councilman Harrison. So, you know, I tried to appease these situations. I simply will suggest that you folks have to decide who you want to believe. I'll allude to one other thing that doesn't bother me, and I've said it, that if my name's not on the plaque, that doesn't bother me. But Mr. O'Brien, last meeting, announced that he had completed his 25th year, or was in his 25th year, or whatever, as council. And there were all sorts of accolades and that type of thing. If Mr. Murray wants to check the record, in January of this year, in an introduction on comments, I indicated I was beginning my 43rd year on council, and the silence was deafening. Now, I don't need any accolades from these people, but I'm just saying it gives you an idea of the unevenness in our governing body. Now, maybe to Mr. Murray's distress, I decided this year I was going to address the public about my concerns about our nation. I allege, and I sincerely believe, that the governing bodies from the federal government all the way down to the local government, Bethel Park Council, is on a slippery slippery slope that's leading us to deterioration. If you have any questions about that, just look at the foolishness going on in our country in this political campaign, talking about something that would make people turned off by our governing body. Unfortunately, at the local level, Maury insists on playing petty politics. As he cited last month, I reported that Maury stated that the municipal plaque is planned for the dedication of the new fire hall. Now, I'll tell you that Councilman Harrison had no information relative to a plaque, and the way I found out about it is that Maury brought it up and suggested maybe my name shouldn't be on it. And the other thing I'll just mention is Maury says I was irate. You folks tell me the times you've seen me get irate. That's not my temperament, I'll just tell you. In any case, another sort of peripheral item is after he brought that up, the minutes reported that there was a consensus taken by council to put all council members' name on there. I can tell you I sat through the meeting. There was no suggestion of a vote, not a vote, but a consensus. It wasn't asked for and it didn't occur. The reason, as he sort of peripherally indicated, is that I voted no on the ordinance, which I did, and my comment to that is, how dare I vote contrary to Maury's desire? Now, the reason I wanted to give you that history, that it's a never-ending thing. At the March committee meeting, which was 2 weeks ago, Maury questioned my use of the Swift Reach telephone system to inform members, a number of citizens, an item of interest to them. It specifically addresses the proposed development of property adjacent to Valley and Richard Drive, which is all single-family residential. The property under consideration consists of coal mine tailings from the Molinar mining operations several decades ago. And I'll just, so you know, this Swift Reach is a telephone system, as he said. He called it a robocall, allowing contact with Bethel Park residents on items that is important to them. It may be emergencies, it may be all sorts of things, but it seems to me, and we'll see what happens when this policy gets generated. And I don't object to generating a policy, so everybody knows the rules, but it seems to me that when there's some significant change that will affect a lot of our citizens, then this is a convenient way to let them know that this is going on. Now, when Maury questioned my use of Swift Reach, he initially addressed the additional cost. Well, obviously he didn't do his homework, because Bethel Park has subscribed to this Swift Reach for several years. We pay an annual fee, and there's no charge if you make no phone calls or if you make thousands of phone calls. So there is no additional charge to use the system. When I educated Mr. Maury on that fact, he switched his position and said excessive calls will ultimately cause people to ignore the calls. Well, I think it's important to know that the system allows the calls to go to selected subsets of the residents. That is, all calls don't go to all residents. In the case of the development in the Fifth Ward, the calls go to just the neighborhood surrounding this property. That's a small percentage of the population of Bethel Park. In fact, it's a rather small percentage of the Fifth Ward. It's only the people that are directly affected. So I just make a final appeal that hopefully Maury will show respect for his position and terminate his petty politics. Thank you.
Mr. President. Just a couple of things to clarify from Mr. Harrison's comments. I'm not going to jump into this. I just want to make a couple of points. Mr. Harrison does have a propensity to make misleading statements, and all of us up here are all too familiar with it. In fact, he even took a shot at our solicitor just a few minutes ago, too, completely unnecessarily. But we're all used to it. He mentioned that the public should decide on whom to believe, and I think that that's a very good suggestion. I think the public should decide. I think you can look at every member of this council, including the solicitor, and with regard to the referendum question, the county solicitor, the county elections director, and all of their staff down there, everybody agreed that that was proper and legal. That is to say, except for Mr. Harrison. He was the only one that did not. He did not vote on that resolution, or he voted no on the resolution of support for the fire department, and it did not go unnoticed at the fire department. With regard to the phone messages, Mr. Harrison just implied, in fact, he pretty much stated that Mr. Mowry and the rest of this council was not in favor of him utilizing this phone message service called SwiftReach to let the residents of that area know of a planning commission meeting. The exact opposite is true. Everybody on this council agrees that that is a very good tool to use to notify residents of these kinds of meetings. The objection was that Mr. Harrison insisted on including his name on these messages when they were left, when the calls were made. And we don't use this as a political tool, and that is a very overt political move to include the councilman's name in the message. There was also a sentence in the message that urged the neighbors to activism, to attend the meeting and become active. You don't need to do that. Those people are already motivated to be active. All you need to do is give them the information of when the meeting is going to be held and where it's going to be held, and let them decide what they want to do on their own. So nobody is against sending this SwiftReach message out. We just don't want Mr. Harrison to use it as a political tool. He talked about the fact that we had no consensus for the, I believe it was for the resolution in support of the fire department. He said that he was at that meeting and there was no consensus. There's more than one way to take a consensus, which is essentially an unofficial vote. You can ask for a roll call and vote around the table, or you can ask, as we do quite often, when an issue is presented, does anybody have a problem with this? If someone has a problem with it, then we bring it up and we discuss it. If no one has a problem with it, that is a consensus of agreement. And so there was absolutely a consensus on the resolution for support of the fire department. So I don't want to really beat this into the ground. I just wanted to clarify that just in his comments here this evening, there were at least 2 or 3 misleading statements, and I just wanted to clarify those for the public.
Mr. Murray.
Yeah, just a couple things. I guess to talk about the respondent, Mr. Harrison, about the plaque, the reason he wasn't aware of it, because it was on the agenda, that he forgot his mail at home that evening, so he didn't have the information in front of him. And let me think about this. If he thought that this question was illegal, it was illegally done, why would he even want his name on a plaque and associated with something that was illegally conceived? By his wanting his name on the plaque, and I'm fine with that, I just wanted to give him the option that he agrees with us, because we all know that Mr. Harrison would not want to participate in anything illegal. To talk about the consensus, Mr. Dixon pretty much covered that. We had placing the names on the agenda tonight for the General Policy and Finance, Civil Service, and Planning Commission. We have been following the same practice for the 20-plus years I've been on, and all of a sudden now he wants to cry foul. It's not right. Once again, it's disingenuous and misleading. You know, the other thing he talked about last month was the Home Rule Charter Committee, and we don't have to go into that, and the comments, the disparaging remarks he made about members of council and the commission. Think about this. Of all the elected officials up here, who do you think made the first request to have an item considered by the Home Rule Charter Commission? I don't think it's going to take too many discussions, but it was Mr. Harrison. The first change that was made, he proposed we go to the commission, and I'd like to thank Mr. McLean and all the members of the commission. This is the hypocrisy that we deal with. I think it's the one good thing that came out of tonight's meeting. Historically, when there's a development or issue in our wards, we talk about it at these meetings. This is a good forum. Well, Mr. Harrison spends all his night politicking and writing his messages and berating and belittling people. This is the first time that I recall that this property, that there's been discussion on the property, that he actually brought it up on the floor to let the residents know what was going on. So I feel encouraged that we're really moving in the right direction, that we finally got him to talk about it rather than sending messages out with his name. And once again, regarding the SWIFT messages, as he alluded to, his name's not on this one. So maybe he does get it. Maybe he does realize it was wrong and he was pushing the envelope. He certainly would never admit it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Mr. Harrison?
I'll just mention that I did put in the message, Councilman Harrison, nothing clandestine, but I want to tell you that this consideration in front of the municipality been going on for a couple months, and there's been 5 Swift Reach messages. All of them except the one today had my name in it. I took it out because of the discussion. But isn't it interesting, all of a sudden it became a lightning rod thing when it had been going on for over 2 months. That's why I call it petty politics, because it certainly wasn't that it didn't come to their attention, because one of the things we agreed to when we first signed up for Swift Reach, that any message that goes out would go through all council members. So every one of them went to council members. Interestingly enough, I didn't get a call today. The chief said my phone number was on there, but I just mentioned I.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Any other discussion? Hearing none, can we turn to planning and zoning and Mr. Dixon? And there's no resident signed up to speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have 2 items under planning and zoning this evening. First one is application number 2016-0066, D and J Storage Facilities, new structure, major land development, 5450 Progress Boulevard. I move that we approve application number 2016-0066, D and J Storage Facilities, new structure, major land development, 5450 Progress Boulevard. D and J Parking and Road Maintenance, Inc., applicant, in accordance with the municipal planner's correspondence dated April 7th, 2016.
Second. There is a motion and a second that we approve application number 2016-0066 D&J Storage Facilities, new structure, major land development, 5450 Progress Boulevard, D&J Parking and Road Maintenance, Inc., applicant, in accordance with the municipal planner's correspondence dated April 7th, 2016. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagno, would you please call the roll?
Harrison?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
Mowry?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Colella?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Gibbons?
Yes.
Hannon?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Mr. Dixon.
Second item is a resolution, traffic signal, McMurray Road at Limestone Drive. I move that we adopt a resolution authorizing the filing of an application for a highway occupancy permit for the installation of a traffic signal at the intersection of McMurray Road and Limestone Drive.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we adopt a resolution authorizing the filing of an application for the highway occupancy permit for the installation of a traffic signal at the intersection of McMurray Road and Limestone Drive. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagnol, would you please call the roll?
McLean.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Colella.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Mr. Dixon.
Mr. President, that is all we have under planning and zoning this month.
Okay, are there any additional items? Hearing none, can we turn to health, safety, and welfare and Mr. O'Brien?
Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
And we have no residents signed up to speak.
Resolution, disposition of records. I move that we adopt a resolution for the disposition of public safety records in accordance with the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Society regulations.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we adopt a resolution for the disposition of public safety records in accordance with the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Society regulation. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagnol, would you please call the roll?
Maury.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Colella.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison. Yes. McLean.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Mr. O'Brien.
There are no other items under health, safety, and welfare, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Any additional items?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
I'd just like to give a notice to the residents. Traffic enforcement is underway, and be careful. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Any other items? Hearing none, can we turn to Public Works and Maintenance and Ms. Gibbons, and we have no residents signed up to speak.
Memorandum of Understanding, Port Authority Rail Crossing Marking Signal located in municipal right-of-way. I move we approve the Memorandum of Understanding with the Port Authority of Allegheny County for the Light Rail Transit System Grade Crossing Safety Improvements Project, and to authorize the proper municipal officials to execute the agreement on behalf of the municipality of Bethel Park.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. We approve the Memorandum of Understanding with the Port Authority of Allegheny County for Light Rail Transit System Grade Crossing Safety Improvements Projects. Wow. And to authorize the proper municipal officials to execute the agreement on behalf of the municipality of Bethel Park. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagnol, would you please call the roll?
O'Brien.
Yes.
Colella.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes. Motion passes 8-0. Ms. Gibbons.
Resolution, application for traffic signal approval at Higbee Drive and Baptist Road. I move that we adopt a resolution authorizing the filing of an application for traffic signal approval for the traffic signal at the intersection of Baptist Road and Higbee Drive.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we adopt a resolution authorizing the filing of application for traffic signal approval for the traffic signal at the intersection of Baptist Road and Higbee Drive. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagnol, would you please call the roll?
Colella.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Ms. Gibbons.
Resolution for the application for traffic signal approval at Horning Road and Baptist Road. I move that we adopt a resolution authorizing the filing of an application for traffic signal approval for the traffic signal at the intersection of Baptist Road and Horning Road.
Second.
There is a motion and a second that we adopt a resolution authorize the filing of an application for traffic signal approval for the traffic signal at the intersection of Baptist Road and Horning Road. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagnol, would you please call the roll?
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Colella.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Ms. Gibbons.
Resolution, RAAC application for the Industrial Park Improvement Project Phase 2. I move that we adopt a resolution authorizing the filing of an application to RAAC for the Industrial Park Improvement Project Phase 2.
Second.
There is a motion and a second that we adopt a resolution authorizing the filing of an application to RAAC for the Industrial Park Improvements Project Phase 2. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagnol, would you please call the roll?
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Colella.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Ms. Gibbons.
No additional items for Public Works and Maintenance.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbons. Are there any additional items? Hearing none,
Move we
motion
adjourn.
to adjourn second. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned, and good night, everyone.